So Slaw. Gosh dang.
Big week.
Last week I thought was the most legendary, which it was for playoffs. This week, I mean, just about as good. I mean, not as
I think it was a better week.
do you?
Less games.
Yeah, I think maybe that's why because there were 4 games of emotions last week. Now there was 2.
Yeah, but I mean, you didn't have blowouts. You had overtime finishes. You had tight game.
Everything you'd want for a championship weekend.
It was just a more quality football weekend.
Yeah, you didn't have bad situational foot.
Oh well.
Well, by 3 teams. So yeah, there was a lot to talk about. Let's start with the Kansas City game if you're cool with that, Holmes.
Yeah, I'm all for it, bro.
Golly. I mean, what do you say? I mean, you can say, yeah, Joe Burrow is awesome, but like he played good, but I didn't think he played unreal. First half, Patrick Mahomes looked like Patrick Mahomes. He was just throwing dimes everywhere. They looked virtually unstoppable. And I was like, I kind of thought it was like the first week of the playoffs, how those games went, where it was just blowout central. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this could suck. I'm like, oh, kind of whatever. Stick around. Well, the Chiefs go up 21-3. And towards the end of the first half, they have a minute something left. And the Bengals throw a screen for I don't know how long, but it's a unbelievable touchdown throw. And then I'm thinking, oh, well, yeah, it's 21-10. KC gets the ball in the second half, and they gave time for Mahomes to score. Well, what happens? They drive all the way down. There's a pass interference. They get to the 1-yard line with like 10 seconds left or something like that. 9 or 10. Well, the first one they throw, they don't complete it. There's 5 seconds left, and I don't want to be griping about situational football, but this is a huge gripe for me. I don't want to.
And you should, because situational football is what decides games. And in this game, it did again.
Yeah, so it was 21-10. 5 seconds left. I think Andy Reid wanted to throw or kick the field goal. Mahomes said, let me take this. Just like any veteran MVP quarterback should, though, with 5 seconds at the 1-yard line. Everyone should. Because if you go a bang, bang, quick throw into the end zone, the max it's going to take is 3 seconds. The max. If you're out of the gun, snap, throw a fade, whatever. Okay. Even if it took 4 seconds, which highly, highly, highly unlikely. But
so Mahomes is going, I'm throwing a touchdown pass or it's incomplete, and we still kick it.
Yeah.
And we still go up another 3.
Yes. And so there's 5 seconds, and I don't know what happened after his first read wasn't open on that play from the 1. But then he turns and throws to the flat because he sees Mighty Mouse, Tyreek Hill, and he throws it to the flat, and it catches it at the 2-yard line. Well, there were 2 guys. There were 2 guys there, and he gets tackled in bounds. You cannot fault Tyreek Hill for this, catching it. He can't like hit it down. He doesn't know. He's like, well, he's throwing me, so I guess I'm open.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he gets tackled. The half's over. There's no momentum. As a MVP quarterback, that is the decision you can never make.
Yeah.
That is not
his fuck up. Was not calling off Andy Reid. His fuck up was going to his second read on that.
I loved him calling off Andy Reid because he is, I don't know how many years in, makes like $50 million a year, should be able to make it to where no matter what, we get a field goal.
Is like that's about to go to 3 Super Bowls in 3 years.
Yes. And people aren't talking about this enough in the media. That was such a huge mess up. It really was. It was 21-10, was going to go up 24-10, which is 2 scores, like 2 touchdowns.
Well, they aren't going to talk. They aren't going to talk bad about.
Right. And I'm not like Mahomes is a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I think he's a top 2 quarterback if he's not a top 1, right? And the thing is that, well, now he's probably down to 2 or 3 for me, because that's situational football. Managing a game is so important. And that would have put them up 24-10. 21-10 just looks a little less. And it was the same deficit at the end of the regular season that the Bengals had to overcome. Just 11 points. Like, all right, we can do it. If it's 24-10, Kansas City's getting the ball, different tune. Absolute different tune. And then the thing that is crazy, which I don't know if the Bengals staff their defensive staff talked about it and said, hey, why are we trying to do what everyone else in the league does against this team and just play our normal defense? I wonder if that was the conversation. Then they're like, all right, let's go back to actually what has beat them before. And that's, let's not let Tyreek Hill get loose, and let's not let Travis Kelce get loose. Let's make Mahomes throw it to other guys and run the football.
And to me, that is the story there. So I know the end of the half, huge fuck up by Mahomes.
For sure. Like 14 points. Think about it. They're not going to overtime.
And situational football, absolutely.
They're winning by 3.
Absolutely wins and loses games. But because it happened in the first half, and you got a coach like Andy Reid and a quarterback like Mahomes and the playmakers they've got, you should be able to overcome that in another half of football. And what happened? They were dusted in the second half.
Well,
absolutely dusted.
The thing that's crazy, though, is whenever you're the best team or a better team, think about it back in college, even like when it's clearly like you guys had good teams, when you're clearly playing a team that's not great and you're way better than them.
You play down to your competition sometimes.
You do, but also you can't give them a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
And Cincinnati's defense was unbelievable in that second half. Their coverage sacks. Look, I didn't get to watch all the game because I was coaching a ridiculous amount of kids basketball, and that should never happen. Kids basketball needs to be scheduled for during the week, during playoffs.
Okay, can I say this?
BS.
Okay, that's something I have a huge problem with.
Yeah, you can't take in a playoff time.
No, what are you doing? First of all, that league should just be eliminated. That it should be done. That league, my daughter's league, my daughter and son's other league, should be eliminated. Hey,
they need to either extend Christmas break through the NFL playoffs or cancel school to have these basketball tournaments go on, so that way the NFL playoffs are still.
Well, you have too many parents that are too concerned about their third grader getting reps in because they think that they're going to be the next Michael Jordan or Cheryl Swoops. And it's like, it's just not going to happen. Like, don't worry. Your child will not be a professional athlete.
Yeah. So
like, don't worry about it. And they might play, nothing against NAIA. They might play NAIA and then they're going to have to pay for their school.
Yeah.
So you're actually wasting money.
I was coaching, so I didn't get to watch any of the first half. The second half, I got to watch some. Fourth quarter, I watched pretty much all of that. Overtime, I wasn't watching it because I just started the next game. But then I said, "Screw this!" and I put it on my phone and I stood up behind the bench and I sat it against like the little foot pegs of the bench. And I'm coaching and watching overtime. That was awesome. But
their defense.
Yeah, the defense. Oh my gosh, that secondary was in lockdown. Mahomes never had anywhere to go with the ball, and it was just awesome coverage sacks going on.
Well, because they were dropping so many people, and they said, "No, we're not letting these certain people beat them." And then when they threw it to the other players, they were dropping them and stuff. Kind of very similar to Tampa Bay, Kansas City last Super Bowl.
And the sack fumble at the end, I called it. I swear to God, I called it. I looked at the other coach and I go, "Watch this, sack fumble's coming." And he goes, "Really?" I said, "Well, I don't know. It's Mahomes, so he may not drop it, but that would be pretty sweet." And then the backer spy that's just like chilling in the middle of the field decided, "I'm tired of waiting," and just juiced it right up the middle
I thought
Sack
it was
fumble.
unreal. Well, the thing is, man, like we talked about the first half situational football. That was atrocious at the end of the second half.
Mhm.
I would have ran the ball on second down because the clock's still running. Make them run the football, and you got a chance. The way they were running against the Bengals, why not? That's what got him all the way down there. Jarrett McKinnon had like a 25-yarder. Don't quote me on that because guarantee it's wrong, but it was somewhere in that larger amount of yardage. And what, like, just do what's the right play. And when you did that, like, there was a chance of they rushed no one. So there's a chance of even throwing a pick. Just do the smart play. Don't make your kicker make a 44-yarder. Make your kicker make a 22-yarder at the longest and move into overtime. Like, I thought it was just dreadfully bad situational football. And again, I would put that on the quarterback, not even on Andy Reid right there, though. Well, I would call a run, but if not, have a check down or something. And that could have been Patrick Mahomes' fault by not doing it. But, like, that was just not good. There was nothing good about that.
Yeah. Well, let's be clear. I was rooting for Cincy the whole way. Didn't think they had a shot. The way their offensive line played, and trust me, bro, next week it's going to be an issue for that O-line.
Oh, it's yeah.
Cincy's O-line is not in a good spot. And what is unreal to me is between the defense, the head coach, and the quarterback, they all said, "We don't care. We don't care. We're fighting. We're balling. We're doing this. We're not going to be denied by anybody. We don't care that we got Swiss cheese blocking for us."
Oh gosh. And the thing is, let's be very clear. Since he moved the ball in the second half, but they didn't play good. They should have had way more touchdowns.
Yes.
Way more touchdowns.
And how many times did Joe Burrow get the snap, take about 3 steps of a drop and go, "Oh fuck, I got to get out of here," and then he just runs for like 20 yards of pop? Like, so what the hell is going on over here?
Right. And the thing that's crazy, this is what's probably more concerning, is Kansas City does not have a good defense. They were like 29th in the league this year. Like,
I don't know why everybody has been singing the praises of Spags.
Yeah, I haven't understood that. Have you? Because they're like
Kansas City hasn't had a good defense in like 8 years. What they have is a psycho defensive tackle in Christian Jones. That dude is
can make some random plays.
Yeah,
but like
he's one of them.
Yes, and you can put a lot of people on him to where you minimize those random plays, right?
Well, we talked about it last week. The way the NFL game is set up right now, yeah, obviously it's super helpful to have both an awesome offense and an awesome defense like a Tampa Bay. But it's unrealistic to really have that all the time. You can have it for a year or two, maybe even 3, depending on the magic that a GM has. But in today's NFL, because of the rule changes, if you have an amazing defense and a mediocre offense, well, you aren't going to go all the way. But you can go all the way with a nothing defense and the best offense in the league.
I agree. And then everyone, like, Kansas City wins the toss, gets the ball in OT, and everyone was like,
which the stat from last week was what, 95% win percentage if you win the toss?
I don't know. I'll tell you what, it was the 5%. And the thing is, like, everyone was like, "Oh, Mahomes is going to win." Cincinnati didn't think that, did they? They did not think that. They said, "Nah, we're actually not going to pout that we missed or we lost the coin toss. We're not going to do what the Bills did last week. We're not going to pout. We're going to actually play football." And what they said is, we're not taking a loss. Like, that's not going to happen. We're just not going to take a loss. So what happens? Well, Mahomes throws a couple bad balls on first and second down, and then not a good throw on third down, throws a pick, and they return it to 45-ish. And right after that, Cincinnati, for whatever they may have struggled on or not, they even ran the ball on that drive. T. Higgins had an insane catch, who is unbelievable. Jamar Chase, really good. There's something about that T. Higgins, number 85, that's a baller to me. But he made...
He is awesome.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Frankly, they need something else, because if Burrow has to be forced to force the ball to Chase, it ain't going to go well.
Oh,
he needs other outlets.
Yeah, well, and T. Higgins is, and I mean, there's arguments in some ways he's a number one receiver. It's just they're not going to be in a bad situation skill position wise, because they have a lot of guys that can play. It's how on earth do we give Joe Burrow 1.5 seconds? And that's not even enough, but you have to give him more than 0.5 seconds.
And it's baffling to me, because that O-line hasn't been exactly good all year.
And then Aaron Donald and Von Miller. By the way, Von Miller's starting. He's been looking like Von Miller for the last, I don't know, however many weeks.
He's been looking like over Von Miller to me.
Well, the thing is, when he was first there, he had an ankle injury, so he was.
Yeah, he wasn't doing
healing.
anything.
No,
but like Von Miller in his absolute prime, that was just like wrecking shop. Not only is he back to that, but he's almost wrecking more right now.
He might be better.
Yeah, he's getting more loose because
Aaron Donald's taking some attention,
and Floyd.
Floyd
also. Floyd. Oh my gosh.
Well, and the thing is, like, how does that work? Von Miller looks like he's 73, but that's partially because I think his receding hairline and his beard. But he's not young in football terms, and he's still got a lot left.
Yeah,
I think he's unbelievable.
Wait, hold on. So have we moved on from the Bengals and Chiefs game?
I don't know. Let's move on, because I mean, there's nothing more to talk about. Let's put it this.
Super pumped for Zach.
Let's put it this way. The Bengals beat them, but the Chiefs also did some terrible things. They should have won. I don't care what anyone says. They should have won.
Yeah. No, I was super pumped, because
stick to the run game in the second half. You're making 6 yards a carry. So that's what they averaged.
To put a bow on that game, I want to say super proud of Zach.
Yeah.
That organization is not an organization you should be able to come in and play serious football.
No, because they don't care that much about, like, the players and coaches do, but the organization doesn't care that much.
Organization doesn't give two shits. And Zach comes in and says, fuck that. I care. These players care. My staff cares. We're going to care. And we're going to turn this shit around. And he has in his second year. Unbelievable. I love it.
Hey, and let me say this, Chiefs, you averaged 5.8 yards a carry. Like, stick to that. Stick to that. 5.8 yards a carry. Stick to it, and the game's over.
Yep.
And I'm not a guy that just says, but like, when the team says you're not passing, what do? Run, because you're not having to block anyone.
There is one more thing I do want to say.
Yeah,
I'm listening to the commentators, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman.
No, that was the second game.
Or sorry, it was Romo. Sorry,
yeah.
Romo. When I was listening to Romo at the end of the game there, when Cincinnati's winning, when they're beating the Chiefs.
No, that was Nance that said it. Nance goes, should they let them score? And Romo said, no, they got to play defense right here.
I was talking just in generalities.
Gotcha.
The way they were talking about Cincinnati was almost like they were a Make-A-Wish team on the field. And
oh my goodness.
It was like, are they watching the same game? Because Cincinnati's winning. They're about to beat the Chiefs and go to the Super Bowl. And the way they're talking to us, like, man, they're trying so hard, but the task is too tall. They're just like fluffing up the Chiefs. Like, oh, these guys are too good.
Let's be fair. Let's be fair. Kansas City is way better than the Bengals. Yeah, they just did some.
I know that.
Unbelievable. No, but yes, they're not a Make-A-Wish.
But
nothing against Make-A-Wish. We love them.
But since he was winning,
boom.
And then they go to overtime And then they beat Cincinnati, or they beat the Chiefs, and the whole time it was still the same tone. Like, oh, that's really cute that Cincinnati's trying so hard.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
and it's like
Romo, will you stop?
it's
Flip
like
the script.
it's true. No, I agree. They do act like the Bengals. Well, which maybe they're doing it too because they're like, how are the Bengals even competing when they have an organization that actually doesn't even want them to win?
Yeah, true.
They're just collecting checks.
But the reason I brought it up is because you were
Like the
saying
Chargers going to the Super Bowl.
you're rushing for 6 yards of carry. Uh, how do you not stick to that?
Doesn't make sense.
Well, there was a point earlier in the game where Mahomes was throwing these like shorter passes. They were getting like 7 yards, 10 yards, and Romo said something that's like, the Chiefs are more dangerous now than they ever were before because they're patient, and before they were never patient,
And then they ended up getting impatient.
and then they got impatient real fast. And it was exactly against what Romo was saying and what he was praising Mahomes.
Well, because
and
last year they weren't
the Chiefs
patient.
for. Well, yeah,
Think about it.
and they would be running the ball effectively, which would be a feather in the cap of the offensive line. And then they would get impatient and start throwing the bombs, and a lot of times it would work.
Okay, let me say this.
Super Bowl. But hold on, let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought though. So Romo is sitting there just going deep on him, saying, "Oh, they're so patient and so amazing." If they were truly patient, they would have ran the ball every play and gotten out of there.
Yes, and I know we were going to move on, but you're a person that played offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
If you walked into the locker room with your buddies, your center, your right guard, your right tackle, because I'm assuming you're playing left guard, okay, and your left tackle, how angry would you guys be if your starting running back had 12 for 65, your backup running back had 6 for 36? Like, how's that conversation go? Like, because I know offensive linemen talk about this and they're like, why didn't we just run the football?
Well, let's be very clear. I have gotten asked many, many times, as far as like pass protection goes, like who I would want to block for in the league today. And I said it's super easy today. It's either Tom Brady or Josh Allen, or even Aaron Rodgers too, because they are in the spot they're supposed to be.
It's predictable and you know exactly where to be.
Now you have to have a good O-line to block for them because those guys want to be in their spot. Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers, they can make magic happen when stuff breaks down.
But they want to be in their spot still.
But they're trying to be in their spot the whole time. When they call a 3-step, a 5-step, a 7-step, they're where they're supposed to be until something bad happens and then they move out. And they said, how about Mahomes? Would you like to block for Mahomes? And I said, well, I would because he's special.
Yes.
But it would be a nightmare in protection to block for him because I would never have any clue where he is going to be. And an offensive lineman needs to know where his quarterback's supposed to be because that determines how they set a guy. And let's be honest, defensive linemen are way more talented, physically, than our side of the ball. And so there are times where you're playing to get beat to a spot because you can't get beat to this spot because
you just want to get beat to the correct spot.
Get beat to the correct spot. You're playing to your help and you're playing to a spot. And based on where the quarterback is, if you don't have help on the O-line, which Cincy is about to have a whole lot of no help, because they're going to have to double Vaughn or double Donald, and then Floyd and Vaughn are freed up. So there's going to be a lot of one-on-ones, and your help then is getting beat to a certain area because the quarterback shouldn't be there. But you can never count on Mahomes to never be where he's not supposed to be.
How bothered would you be that they didn't stick to the run as an O-lineman?
Yeah, well, that is my point. I think Mahomes makes his offensive line look far worse than what they actually are.
Yeah. Well, and think about it. They were 2nd and 3 and 2nd and 4. I don't know how many times, and they just pass.
This offensive line this year is dramatically improved from last year.
Oh, for sure.
And Mahomes still makes them look silly. So what I'm saying, when you're in the AFC Championship game and you're running the ball for damn near 6 yards a carry, and then they completely abort the run, and you're the old lineman going, are you kidding me? What else do I have to do? You're now going to put us in the toughest position possible when we don't need to be, when we're beating the dog crap out of these guys up front. And now you're going to ask us to be in a spot in the NFC champion or AFC championship game and do what none of us want to do because Mahomes makes us all look like idiots. Awesome. Good play.
We wouldn't even be talking about this if they would have ran the football. And I'm not, I'm a proponent to just do whatever the defense dictates. And I'm telling you, they threw the ball almost 39 times, and they averaged almost 6 yards a carry. To me, that's crazy. That's absolutely just nuts. But it is what it is. Bengals move on. They had their dreams come true, as Tony Romo and Jim Nantz would probably say. The Niners-Rams game. I don't know where to begin. Kind of a boring game to watch at the beginning. It's just kind of like, what are we doing? But man,
I was on pins and needles the whole time because I'm just sitting here going, when are the Rams gonna explode? When is that happening?
Mm-hmm. And by the way,
I was waiting the whole time to see like 25 seconds of it.
OBJ, by the way, you can say whatever the heck you want to say about him. He was a difference maker. Cooper Kupp, obviously, because he's the best receiver in the game, I believe, right now. That's not even a conversation. We don't even need to talk about him. Like, Cooper Kupp, he made some plays. He had 2 touchdowns, 11 for 142. It's like, yeah, like that's Cooper Kupp, though.
Yeah. So you're right. It was less impressive for Kupp to do that because he always does it.
Yeah, it's just not impressive when he has
OBJ
an all-world game.
OBJ went for like 6 for like
9 for 113, and he had some huge third down pickups. He had some huge just first downs. There was a 2nd and 12 he got that was in Rams territory, and they had to get out there. I don't know, the 10-yard line, and you're just like, he's making some plays, and he was routing up some dudes.
Hey, can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
Is Cooper Kupp better than Davante Adams?
It's a different type of receiver, so it's hard to say. At what he does, I think he's just as good, but they're different.
But it's like they're different. All the receivers in the league, and you got to rank them. I say Cooper Kupp is.
I'm probably taking Kupp, but that's because, bro, like people don't get this, and people are going to be like, "Oh, that's not." He literally blocks like a tight end too, so it's like it's a weird. I don't know. He's always and he's always open.
He's always going off.
Yes, and that's the thing is
his routes are stupid.
They're silly stuff.
He's just breaking ankles all over the place. And when he catches the ball, he has this weird body demeanor where he looks like he's relaxing and like either going down or going out of bounds. And then he'll just like juice it. Then he'll just juice
and he breaks a tackle,
get another 30 yards.
And he's way faster than people even realize. So it's just, let me say this. You watch him, and because of his body movements, you're like, oh, he's not that fast. And he's running away from people. And you're like, well, he's not that fast, but he's completely running away from people. I think that means he's fast.
To me, Davante Adams would be like create a player. If you're playing Madden and you were going to create a receiver, it's Davante.
But Davante's unbelievable.
Yeah,
and they're just different because of where they play. Cooper Kupp is asked to do every single thing.
The first receiver in the league to go over 2,000 yards.
I will say this. He's unreal. He's not what people like fantasy people and
well,
I don't know. He's unbelievable. No,
he's white. That's why people want to hate on him.
It is. And it's the same. I will say this. I've been around some unreal receivers. because that's what happens when you play on multiple teams, right?
Mhm.
But same thing with like Julian Edelman, one of the best receivers I've ever seen. There's certain things that just like, it's funny because you get all these fans that argue like, oh, but you'd take this guy on third down. It's like, yeah, like I'd take Cooper Kupp. I'd take Cooper Kupp, Julian Edelman on third down over maybe anyone ever, and Wes Welker, because it's situational football. Weird that comes up, but third downs win and lose games. They win and lose games. That's when teams try to play man-to-man, try to do different things. And it's like there's certain guys that are just always, no matter what, open.
Yeah, they're always going to win. And Cooper Kupp right now is doing it better than anybody else is in the league. So, but your original point, OBJ.
Yeah, sorry.
I will say I was really impressed with him too.
Oh my gosh.
Because that one huge catch he made there late, and the linebacker or the safety came in and just like smoked him helmet to helmet. I fully expected OBJ to be OBJ at that point and fly off.
He just got up and he was like, "What's going on?"
He got up. He looked at the dude and goes, "What are you doing, man? You're stupid."
You're by the way, that was
got a penalty.
That was vicious. Also, Fred Warner helmet to helmet on Matt Stafford. Kind of glad the Niners aren't going just because of that. Like, I've always actually been I like Fred Warner, but like I was like, that is so uncalled for.
Well, they got the lick back though on Samuel coming across.
But that wasn't illegal though. There's nothing illegal. But I'm saying those were highly illegal.
They destroyed him.
And that's the
thing. I
thought
they threw a flag for hit on a defenseless player,
but not if it's in the chest like that and you're not leading with the head.
Yeah, and
you can't.
It was an unbelievable hit. Yeah, it was unreal. The timing of it was unreal. But I thought they called it for hit on a defenseless player.
No,
I don't know how you can do that. I mean, this is football. Now, if he came in and launched into his head, okay, fine. But what happened to separating the ball from the player? Because that's what defensive backs are supposed to do.
Yeah.
The guy's coming across the middle. There's a penalty for coming across the middle, and it's you're gonna get destroyed. So when they changed the rule to hit on a defensive player, now I was driving at that point. I was driving back from the basketball game, so I didn't see like if they picked up the flag or not. What happened on that?
On the they just picked up the flag.
So they said it wasn't a penalty.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But there are a couple ridiculous things. But I will say this first half, and even like LA just didn't do a good job. They scored their first touchdown they scored the first touchdown of the game, but they didn't. They just struggled. I felt like it was like a weird deal, but they struggled. Just putting a full drive together. And San Francisco they do a great job of just playing ugly and making you play ugly, right? Like kind of running the ball, kind of like just shortening the game. And I don't even know how, like,
but this has kind of been LA's deal all year. And I don't understand it. Beginning of the year, if you remember, my pick for the NFC was the Rams. Beginning of the year, I said Rams are the most talented team. They are stacked. They are going to be a problem for teams to keep up with them. And
I'm sure I picked the Bucks, but
you did, but
I knew they were.
No, you picked Dallas based on the first.
Oh, game. I did. That's right. Good call.
But it doesn't matter. The Rams have been doing this all year. They should be absolutely blowing everybody out every single week. They should be destroying them. Playing a team like San Fran, they should be licking their chops because they should get a 3-score lead early and just be able to chill. Because as soon as you go up 3 scores early, it will take San Fran out of their mode. And San Fran has beaten the dog crap out of them six games in a row.
And it's almost like they thought about it.
And now everybody is freaking out going, yeah, Sean McVay is the greatest young coach of all time and whatever else. But Shanahan's got his number and, he's always going to be his boss, this and that. The way those those idiots on Good Morning Football are just going nuts about Sean McVay is like the greatest. What I'm wondering is is there something wrong with Sean McVay? Because they should be waxing everybody with the offense they got and the defense they got and the supposed coaching staff that they got. Why aren't they winning by 30 points every game?
Well, let me say this. I see what you're saying, but like the Niners have uglied up every game. They uglied up the Packers game. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like they're just very good at playing an ugly game and staying in it. And it's almost they just found a way to keep moving on.
Yeah.
Like they just found a way.
But the Rams are supposed to have a really good O-line. And Nick Bosa is just running roughshod all over everybody, who's really, really good, by the way.
Yeah, he's really good.
And then San Fran's supposed to have a really good offensive line. Now, the Rams' defensive line makes a lot of good offensive lines look horrid. I mean, Trent Williams is the best left tackle in the league, and I know he's dealing with an ankle.
Yeah,
but my God, when Floyd trucked him in,
it was crazy.
Oh, I'm like, that doesn't happen to Trent Williams ever. And Floyd is like a little teeny tiny guy. He's like a receiver.
He's like 145 pounds.
Yeah, he's like a receiver out there, and just straight trucks him.
No, it was a great game to watch. I'm happy for Matthew Stafford. I'm happy for obviously Weddle. He, by the way, 37 years old, and I was worried he was going to die out there. He was in on every tackle.
He's like, unbelievable. I love it.
I know, and I'm sure he's feeling it today. Yeah. But
what's awesome though is he looks like he's having so much fun out there.
Oh yeah, he does.
Because just sitting at home on the couch, which I know he wasn't sitting at home on the couch. Obviously, he's a grinder,
right?
But you've been out of the game for 2 friggin' years, and then you get a call at the start of playoffs, and it's like, hey, you want to come play? Yeah, sure, why not? Let me just go out there and just have a ball, because expectations probably aren't super high, because I've been retired for two freaking years. So I'm just gonna go ball.
I asked him last week if he you having fun? Like, did you have fun? He said, I've never had so much fun. Yeah. He said, I've never.
Face.
But the thing is, he knows he's done after this year. He knows this is just like, let's see if we can get a Super Bowl. Man, this is kind of random, right? And I'm so happy for him. I do hope he gets a ring. Yeah. That'd be so sick.
Well, but back to the games. We don't want to get too much into the Super Bowl, but I will say this matchup, the Rams should absolutely run away with it. But I think it's going to be a game, because the Rams have just done this all year.
Well, and then also the Bengals have found a way to stay in it. So it's like,
yeah, very interesting.
It'll be interesting. We're not going to talk about it till next week, since we have a couple weeks before the game, but super interesting. I want to go into a couple things that's news, right?
Yeah.
So Tom Brady's supposedly retiring ish.
Yeah. Where are we at with this? Did you call him yet and say, bro, what the hell's going on?
Bro, I so hope he doesn't retire. And then I want to see what happens to the people that broke the news. I mean, I love him. I want him to retire for his sake, to be like, bro, retirement's sick.
You're going to love it. Do you think he would pull that petty a move because somebody was a fucking douchebag and leaked all this before?
I don't know.
Which I will say, it's a little bit of a prima donna thing, but I also understand it. When you're the greatest of all time, you should be able to go out on your terms exactly how you want them.
It's the most messed up thing. It's people that are so, help me to be nice about this. It's people that are so worried about their name agenda. There, it's like,
well, they want to be able to break
this
the
is
biggest
something.
Story.
Yes, I don't care what I do. Like, if I'm that person, I'm not breaking it. I'm letting the person break it, because like that's your personal deal. And he's out of the country. So he didn't talk to anyone.
Do you think Tom would pull that petty of a move where he would unretire and play another year?
Well, he's technically not retired right now.
Well, yeah, I know. But it's obvious he
Well,
of
we
decided.
think, but he hasn't talked to anyone.
And
but here's the
wrong person.
Well, here's the thing. I just sent you a text. Like TB12 came out and thanked him for his retirement. That's where it gets weird.
Well, the thing is, I will say this though: the person I guarantee that runs TB12 didn't know. I bet he didn't even know that he was retiring. If you know what I'm saying, because TB12,
there's that.
You know what I'm saying, and I'm guarantee they have someone for their social media because they're a company now. Like it's not a.
Well, you know me. I'm always going to be
some intern that's probably going to get fired, unfortunately.
I mean, some heads are going to roll. Could you imagine like the way he's controlled his career, and then some idiot in media like takes it away from him? If he had like he should be able to go out on his own. Everybody that's played football should go out on their own, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady. It doesn't matter if you're.
But the media and their ego don't care about people.
You know,
that's why I didn't tell. That's why I didn't tell anyone.
I'm gonna dump on Tom as much as I possibly can. I believe Tom. Now, again, I'm like speculating here.
I guarantee.
I don't know.
I disagree with you on this. He
decided to retire, and he mentioned it to a small group of people that he trusted. And then somebody got mouthy and passed it on to somebody else, maybe inadvertently, and that person goes, gold. Now I'm going to go make this my like career jump off point. And now Tom's like, what the hell? What do I do? Like, I want to be able to go out on my terms. And what I'm going to say is, if it happened like that, Tom's got to be smarter. You know, who he mentions Tom thinks to? His wife.
Yeah, he thinks everything through. Like, this is not, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. You
got to know, him retiring is the biggest retirement in all of sports history.
I bet he didn't tell his wife. No, I'm saying I bet.
No, I'm saying he should have only told his wife.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Because I bet what he said was to a small group of people, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to retire. And then somebody in that small group then took it to somebody else, who then that person probably exploded it.
Either way, it's extremely disrespectful to
it 100%.
Like I'm saying, to break this news, even like that's not your job.
No, it 100% is, and I'm with you. But what I'm saying, when you're a Tom Brady, and this situation of him retiring is the biggest retirement of all time in any sport.
Yeah,
Tom has to realize who he is and what that means to the game.
He knows
he should not have said anything to anybody except his wife.
Yeah,
he shouldn't.
I see what
he shouldn't have told his agent. He shouldn't have told his dad. He shouldn't have told his brother. I don't know if he has a brother.
He doesn't, but say he did.
He tells his wife only. His wife only. That's it. Boom, done.
And the thing is, like, he may have. He honestly might not have decided, but like talked about it with a few people and said, I'm actually thinking about it. And then someone just ran. Like, you never know. Like, it's kind of a random thing, and it's at the end of the day, it's just wrong. It's literally wrong. If someone would have tried, which not famous enough, but if someone would have tried to break mine, that like even that I was talking to, like, that's just annoying. It's just disrespectful. Like, yeah, it's disrespectful. And I wanted to do it on, like, I remember, like, I wasn't going to really tell anyone.
I think
all my closest friends didn't. I don't even know if maybe I called you right before I Instagrammed it. And I might not have even, I did it. And then people, I remember the next day, people they're like, is this true? Like, what? You're retiring? I said, yeah. Because I didn't, like, the last thing I wanted was to, not the other people, but I didn't even want people within organizations to know.
Yeah. No, I remember the conversation with you about it. But I tell you what, the media should be ashamed of themselves.
Yes.
Because as soon as I saw the thing on Instagram, on ESPN, Adam Schefter reports Tom Brady announces retirement, and then below that said per sources. I was like, what? How can you report on that? Per sources? When you tag it per sources, you know what you should do? not fucking report it.
Yeah, because if you didn't hear it from Tom,
yeah, what they should have done is gotten the report from their fucking sources and call Tom and say, what's
is this
the deal?
true?
And then when he doesn't say anything, then you don't report it.
I want him to come back.
Adam Schefter, who we all know, not a fan of that little snake, fucking snake. Not a fan.
Should we see if we could have him on to talk about this?
Yeah, you want to call? What kind of snake would he be?
Well, he
Gardner?
ain't a super sweet.
Gardner snakes are the worst.
Yes, he ain't a super sick snake. He's a Gardner snake. He sucks.
He's not a super sick one.
Yeah, he's a shitty one. Like worthless. Like what did Gardner's snakes even do? They go
Nothing.
around.
They get caught, and they get caught underneath your lawnmowers. That's it.
Did you say they eat crickets? Is that what they do?
Yeah, they eat crickets. Sweet, good for you. You're awesome. Yeah, that is Adam Schefter.
I can just see it now.
So
Yo's gonna make. Yo's gonna make.
When I saw
his head on it.
When I saw it, and it said Adam Schefter says Tom Brady's reporting per sources. Said Schefter is the most irresponsible douchebag in all of media.
No.
He should be fired. He should be fired for this.
Actually, somebody should. And Tom should pull all of his whatever documentary he just did for ESPN, pull it all.
I would love that. Oh my gosh.
I don't know if this can be on the pod or not.
Well, it is. No, well, it's going.
Everything goes on the pod.
So Scott, be ready.
No,
you can't cut it out.
Okay.
There is no cutting. So
don't do anything that's going to hurt you or us.
Okay, never mind then. I'll tell you guys after.
Okay.
Yeah, you might want to.
That's fair.
It was going to be a huge dig at Adam Schefter, but I'll wait until after.
Yeah, well, definitely. But the thing is, it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's wrong.
Yeah, you tag it with per sources, which means you're a fucking scumbag and you do no journalistic work. You heard a rumor and you just sold it as fact. So you're CNN. Awesome.
Good luck.
It's so funny that everybody just wants to be the first and wants him to retire, but really nobody wants him to retire.
I know.
Right? Like who wants him to retire? But everybody's rushing him to. This is it. And everybody now knows Tom. Like everybody I know. Oh, well, I know. No, you don't. Tom probably has 3 friends, like literally. Right. I mean, and he probably didn't even tell them. And he doesn't tell his dad anything anymore because his dad tells it how it is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, his dad was the first one to pop up and said, yeah, he never made up his mind. What are you talking about?
Do you think he pulls the ultimate petty move and goes as far as to come back and play another year for this?
I do
love it.
I don't know if it'll be in Tampa, but I do think that could happen. I think he would say, because he is that way, that he would say, yep, I was going to retire, but not now, you idiots.
I think the only thing that could say he was going to retire, because we still don't even know if he was going to retire. Like it sounds like maybe he was.
Let's assume
he was. It wouldn't. If he wasn't married, I guarantee it. His wife could have some say. She's going to have say in it either way. Yeah, but I'm saying like
she is full on half of him. So
I could, without a doubt, see him do it if he wasn't married.
A full year? You think he'd play a full year? Like I could see him being super petty and dragging it out to like the summertime just to be like, fuck you to everybody. But
and just let like certain people in the Buccaneers organization say, hey, it's like 80%, but I'm just going to do this just to make them look terrible.
Mm-hmm. But do you think he gives it a full another season?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, he had one of his best years statistically ever. Mm-hmm. So like he can do it.
Yeah. None of this would even be a conversation had the Bucs had a healthy O-line, I think.
This is the other thing too. I remember Jim Leonard, D coordinator for Wisconsin. He played 10 years in the league. We were talking and I said, when did you know when you wanted to retire? because I was getting to year 7 or 8, and I was like, I want to know, right? And he was like, or maybe yes, 7 or 8. He goes, I knew when I didn't want to put up with the young kids crap. Bro, I tell you, in Baltimore, and the thing is, when you're in a different regime, right? So I believe this in Tampa compared to New England. New England, he'd never have to worry about it because you're not putting up with young kids crap, because otherwise they're fired. And I was obviously San Diego got to the point where like that was one of the things that bothered me, but it never got me over the edge. And then I go to Baltimore, and they're a great organization, yada yada yada, right? But it still wasn't like New England as far as like taking care of like hey, let's all like go all in and be ready for this week. I got to the point where there were certain things that just drove me insane. Like, and I was like, I can't do this anymore too. Like, if I think back, like there were some other things, whereas obviously that I feel like God took the love of playing away from me, all kinds of stuff. But like, I remember Jim Leonard specifically saying that, and I can kind of remember that. And I remember that year things would bother me. And it's like, you don't want to put up, and this is the other thing, like you don't want to go to meetings anymore. You don't want to go, like, you just don't want to do that stuff anymore. Maybe he's at that point too. He's like, I can play, sure, yeah, I could go throw for 5,000 yards. I don't want to put up with that stuff anymore, because that's the work too. It's work enough to get ready each week, but then if you have to deal with, because things aren't getting any better, right, as far as like accountability in this day and age. So like I could not imagine being a leader of a team and not, you know what I mean? That's kind of,
well, I believe playing for New England is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. It is
in a lot of ways, but specifically to what you're saying. So when you're in New England, the most professional football organization you could possibly have, most accountability, things are done a certain way, and everybody's all in on being as professional as can be. I never played for New England, but my offensive line at the Jets was about as New England as you could possibly get. The way Bill Callahan ran that room, and the way that offensive line, the seriousness of which they took their job. Bro, I was over the young kid crap when I went to the Bears right after the Jets. I'm in year 5 going, what in the actual hell is going on around here? Because at the Jets, I was in my own little bubble of the offensive line.
Yeah.
And when you have all first round picks, all pros, all perennial pro bowlers, led by, and I say this lovingly, as led by a militant offensive line coach that expects professionalism at every second. The second you move on from that, it's a curse, because now your expectations are, this is what it is.
Yeah, your expectations are is that everyone's going to work hard.
Yeah, and then you move on to elsewhere and you see the lack of professionalism, the lack of accountability. It hurts you as a professional. It hurts your heart, your soul, your whole being, because you have taken it so seriously. You went to New England and your entire team is like that. And when you move on to a team that's not like that, it undermines what you do as a professional. So I was over it in year 5, but I knew I was in year 5. I had to keep on playing.
Yeah.
So you just try to find a way to make your little corner of the team as professional as can possibly be.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my thought on, maybe that's what it's getting to him, because like he wanted to play for a long time, and now it's like, or maybe he always
has played for a long time,
but I'm saying like even more, maybe he also said that he wanted to play till he was 45. That would be his last year. And maybe he said that on purpose with the plan of always retiring at 44, so no one knew and he didn't get a farewell tour. That could have been it too. Because he's not that type of guy. He doesn't want the attention.
Even still, I've always had a lot of animosity towards him, just because of the rivalry. But
yeah,
You can't take anything away from the guy. He's the absolute greatest of all time. Nobody else is going to sniff him for decades. There are players that absolutely have a chance, and a Mahomes and an Allen. But realistically, no, ain't going to happen. Nobody's going to sniff it for decades.
Well, I mean, you have to win 8 titles. I don't know if anyone can ever do that.
Isn't going to happen. And he's the most incredible quarterback of all time. Not only because of the championships he's won and the change he can affect on his team, but it is the lack of politics that he's ever dealt with. I mean, being a six round pick, the scrawny little weakling coming out, and he just goes, I'm mentally tougher than everybody else, and I'm just going to go do it, and I'm going to do it for 20 whatever years. And not only do it for that long, but be the absolute best and win all these championships. And he's done it with far, far less talent than, let's say, Mahomes and an Allen can get their shit together and go on these runs of winning, 4 or 5 titles. Think of the talent those two players have compared to the talent Tom has. Now, Tom has arm talent. I know that. But when you're talking about the whole package, Mahomes and Allen are far and away more gifted. But where Tom's done it is upstairs in between his ears.
I think, yeah, maybe have more gifted arm. Maybe Allen does.
Yeah,
for sure.
Allen's throws are stupid.
Allen's not even a real person.
No,
that's actually been proven. They tested it.
But everything Tom has done is between his ears and in his chest.
I'll tell you, yeah, and I'll tell you what, we'll miss him if he is done. Like, I don't care if you don't like him or whatever. You need someone to hate if you don't like him. Like, that's part of the great part of sports.
I love him,
but you hate him.
I also hate him.
Yeah. The other person that not retiring but is done. I don't want to go into any of the coaches except one. Sean Payton. Hey, I'm not even going to talk about it. You just talk about it quickly, then we can move on.
Huge.
Just let everyone know what happened.
Huge power move. This is the biggest douchebag move you could do.
Well, I didn't know you were going to go like that, but
I'm all here for it.
I guess.
Sean Payton goes, I'm an awesome coach. One of the best coaches in the league. I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I refuse to tarnish my reputation and my record by staying here another year and getting fired. So I'm just going to quit.
Yeah.
I'm going to quit. I'm going to hold out. I'm going to get the Saints to release my rights. And guess where I'm going next year? Sliding right on over to Dallas. Sean does Dallas. Here we go.
Sean. Oh, wow.
It's going to be the biggest dick move of all time. And I love it.
If that somehow happens, he's going to go to Dallas for 10 years then, because Dak's not going anywhere.
But Sean's looking at his situation.
You heard it here from Matt Slauson. That's where Sean Payton's going next year.
He just saw the future of the Saints without Drew Brees. He lived through it and said, F this. No thanks. Because the only chance we got is if a Josh Allen is coming out in the draft.
Right.
And guess what?
He's not coming out in the draft. He's already in the league.
So unless Tom Brady somehow was like, yeah, I'll come to the Saints, then Sean will go, oh, never mind.
Oh, crap. I forgot I am coaching.
Yeah. Or if Aaron Rodgers somehow goes to the Saints, then yeah, he's going to come back. But the way things are set up now, they know they ain't going to go get a superstar veteran. They know there is no Josh Allen, Mahomes type in the draft. And he's looking at the quarterbacks he's got and even the capable backups around the league that they could go and get, or even like I can't even think of his name. The guy for Indy, quarterback in Indy.
Wentz.
Yeah, Carson Wentz. There's talk about Indy trading him out.
Good luck to the Colts doing that.
Yeah, I don't think the Saints would even consider giving up what the Colts are going to ask for.
No.
So Peyton's going, so I got Taysom Hill, and his stable over there of quarterbacks is going, yeah, I'd be fired if I come back.
Right.
So I'm out. So I'll just wait until they fire McCarthy, and then I'll be in. Neat.
It's a smart thing.
Uh-huh.
Bravo, Sean Payton, for making a great career decision to make you look better in the long run.
Yep. Selfish man.
Scotty, you got it from here.
Another episode of Woodraux Wisdom.
I love the name, by the way. I don't know how wise I am when it comes, but I like the name. It makes you feel kind of good for a second.
Like in a leather seat, smoking a cigar with scotch next to you.
We need to find a way to put music to this.
No. Can I say this? That is not what it is. It's like me outside on a 95-degree sunny day with jeans and a wife beater, smoking a heater. That's what it's. Hey, when are we going to make cigarettes cool again?
Let's do it.
You know what I mean? Make
I'm all for
cigarettes
destroying
cool again.
My body.
MCCA. Never smoked a cigarette, but
we need to.
No, I did one time.
We need to find a way to attach music to the intro of Woodrow's Wisdom, because all I'm picturing is like you with a little like wooden cart standing outside of like an old saloon, like peddling all your snake oils and whatever else.
Hey, yo, I know you're listening to this. Make sure we get one with me with either, it doesn't matter if it's my right or left foot, leaning up against, like back up against a brick building on a hot summer day with me having a cigarette in my mouth.
It's like the 1800s. You're posted up at your little cart. You're holding a little vial
with a headband,
and it says Woodraux Wisdom.
Take a picture, yo. And think of some good music.
Yeah, saloon music. Wild Wild West saloon.
I could even use some jazz music. All right, go ahead, Scott. We went off the rails right there, but it needed to happen.
We're going to piggyback off of last week. And one of the greatest sayings that I love is, when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. And we talked about teaching last week. This week, I would like to understand your wisdom, your life experience on learning. We are all different, and we all like to learn in different ways. So I'd like to ask you a two-part question. How do you like to learn? And number two, how would you teach learning?
Well, that's aggressive. What was the first question? How do you like to learn? So going back to my career, I was always a learner I kind of needed to see it. It wasn't just, so I struggled just going in and studying the playbook. Like, I could figure out my job and what the correct thing to do, but I didn't always understand like my parameters of how I were to do it. So say I'm running a 5-yard out route. If you see it on paper, it's just a square out. Well, if you do that in the NFL, you're never, ever, 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 ever going to play football. So my first year, I didn't think I was a very good receiving running back. I kind of sucked because I didn't understand how, because everything was just bookwork, right? That first year for me. So learning was kind of hard because I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't know what to do. So I'd say I needed to learn like a little bit more hands-on. I needed to see it, like walkthroughs, like different things that help me understand what needed to be done. Now, I will say this too, my rookie year, part of learning is, I don't want to say, but you have to want to learn too. And I wanted to learn, but I was also afraid to ask, not to ask too many questions, but like to really understand it thoroughly. I understood it, but I didn't understand it thoroughly. And I would say as I got older and even into the next year, I would say that the one thing that I know Slauson has talked about Anthony Lynn as an offensive coordinator, but was a good coach, like a good head coach or probably a good running backs coach. Well, he was a good running backs coach because he allowed me to get out of the parameters of the paper, of the playbook. And everything was opened up completely once I got out of the parameters of just looking at what it is and what it's not. So it allowed me to understand thoroughly what my full job was. It wasn't just to run a 5-yard out. It wasn't just to run this, that, and the other. It was, I just needed to be at a certain spot. Then I went to New England and I realized, oh, I need to learn everything. So it's kind of like, say, in math or in calc, like you don't just get an calculus is what it would technically be for our listeners. It's not about, so like I wanted to get the answer correct, right? But you need to know every step to get that answer, because there might be, in order to check your work, you need to know every single step. Well, New England was like calculus of the NFL. It gave me I needed to learn what I was supposed to do, but in order to learn what I was supposed to do, I needed to know what everything else did to get my answer, right? Like certain plays, I could run a route a certain way, but versus a different coverage or if it's a different concept, I had to run that route differently. And they got me learning on a whole different way to learn things inside and out. And I think that was partially, I had to be open to asking questions and figuring things out. I think so many people, and maybe it was just my inexperience, but I was learning what I was supposed to do when I was in New York. To getting to New England and after, I learned that I needed to know more than what I needed to know. And I think that can go hand in hand for people in like the business world. Is you need to know everything about everything, or you should want to know everything about everything that you're involved with. So now I think people kind of get annoyed with me because my learning is, I want to know if I'm involved in something, I want to know everything that makes everything work within my little area, right? Because if I don't, then I'm not fully prepared. Like, this may sound stupid. My wife and I help out at our church with a group of, we help lead a group. Well, I want to know, like, I probably am annoying at sometimes because I kind of want to know everything about everything. And I don't know if that's, I mean, you'd have to tell me, Scott. I don't know if that's real world, like everyone does that, but in order to be successful at anything or just know what's going on, I think we have to want to learn the whole big picture of everything that we do. Like I'm the same way with golf. I want to know everything about the golf swing. So then I know what I'm doing wrong. I didn't always used to be like that. I was always like, oh, just whatever I can do to be successful. So my learning, I think it grew as I got older. And now I'm like, I just kind of, if I'm going to be involved in something, even like my friendships, this may sound crazy, but I want to know everything about you. Like even the things that you struggle with, like I want to know that, because if not, do I really know you? And my argument is no, I don't. You can say we're good friends and stuff, but if we're not willing to share things about each other, well, then are we really good friends? I wouldn't say we are. So that's even learning about my relationships. If I don't know everything about my wife, if I don't know everything about my wife, have I really learned anything about her? Or do I really know who she is, which is my wife? So outside of my relationship with God is the number one relationship, and then my kids. But if I don't know, if I haven't put in the time to learn everything about her, like what makes her mad, what makes her happy, things she enjoys, things that maybe it's the talents that she has or the skills that she has. If I haven't learned those things, am I really an expert at being her husband? Probably not. And yes, it's in job. Yes, it's in life. Yes, it's in relationships. I learn now by asking questions. So that was a long, like, yes, I learn hands-on, but I also learn by me being interested in asking questions. So that's what I do. Like, if I meet someone and I start to become friends-ish with them, whatever, I start asking questions about their life because I actually care. And even people, I guess, that I'm not friends with, because how do you learn anything about someone if you don't ask questions? Well, I'll tell you, you don't. You have no clue. So does that kind of answer your first question?
Yeah, that was strong. I think it opened up, gosh, like I wrote down like 10 things beyond that. But, number one, I think we're in a society where everybody wants to get to the finish line. They just want to know all the hacks to go, how do I skip all of this and get to the finish line? And
well, you don't get to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You are actually just kind of surviving for the moment.
And how enjoyable is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from my perspective in my career, kind of the same thing you were talking about as far as the playbook doesn't actually show you things. Shows you concepts, but it doesn't show you how to do it.
Right.
So when I came into the league playing O-line like you, the playbook does me no good. It tells me who I'm supposed to block. But you know what it has? It has the circles of the offensive line, and it has this little T line going off of it to show like a reach block.
Mm-hmm.
But none of those little lines are showing the actual reach block. It's just showing a direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's showing who you're supposed to block next. So it's the little T, like if it's a 38 stretch boss, it'll have the T going off to the right to show reach block. And then from there, if you're double teaming with the tackle to go up to the weak side backer, then it'll have another longer T going up there. But it's not showing the actual process of a reach block and a double team and then the transition from there and the correct angle to get up to your guy, because that guy's going to move. He's going to move and flow with the play. So nothing is actually right in the playbook. And what I was doing as an offensive lineman is I would study, okay, on this play, on this stretch, 38 stretch boss, I would, versus a 3 technique, I would B block to the weak side backer. But on a new mic, now you man block between the guard and the tackle. But if it's an overload side versus a 3 technique with no new mic, then it's like a totally different rule. And so what I was doing early was I was studying every single possible look versus a 3 technique, then every possible look versus a 1 technique, then every possible look versus a 2. And I'm going, holy crap, I have to memorize like 500 things for our game this week.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until like I was just messing everything up. And I went to Callahan and said, what do you want me to do? And he goes, you need to know it like Nick Mangold knows it. I felt that was an impossible task to cover. But once I started trying to look at it, how Nick looked at it, when you look at everybody on the entire offense and what they're supposed to do, then I realized, much like in school, how I failed algebra 3 fucking times, but calculus, I dominated its ass. Because it's almost like I was making it so simple that I was making it harder. And once I made it harder, then it got simple. Once I took the time to actually learn what the hell is going on for everybody and what our responsibility is, then I no longer had to study, what do I do against a 3 technique? It's going, what are we doing against a 59 front?
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing against a 25 front? Not, what am I doing versus a nose guard? Then, holy crap, my mind expanded so much to where I could conceptualize so many more things because I just took the time to learn actually what the hell is going on. And
right.
To your point, what I was doing early is I was surviving.
Yep.
And when I made the decision that I didn't want to survive anymore, I wanted to thrive. And what we need to do in society is thrive. God didn't put us here to survive, to just hang on for as long as we're here. He put us here to thrive. So let's learn and thrive.
Scotty.
Mic drop from both of you. One great thing that you brought up is relationships, right? Like, it's important. Everybody knows that you're friends, but then you ask your friend, why are we friends, right? If you said, hey, why are we friends? I bet you they could not answer that. Like, they haven't done the work to understand or learn, like, why is Danny my friend? And I think it's easy for people to tell you what they do, but they can't tell you why they do it. And I think that's the learning part that I'm totally interested in. Like, why I'm so interested. I'm the most annoying guy. Like, why did you do that? Why would you do that? And I think you can learn a lot. I think the fastest way to learn is through people. That doesn't mean you take their ideas. You have to live your life. I'm not saying copy anybody, but we can learn from one another. I mean, I think also that's why God put us here, to help each other, to be in groups of people and to learn from one another and thrive all at once. That's what I believe.
No, for sure. Did you have another question? I couldn't remember.
No, we're good. Boom.
Okay. You guys keep talking. I got to go to the restroom.
So do you want to do, it's that time?
Yeah, let's fucking do it. Kids, you know what time it is. Children, get on the fucking rug. It's time for a story. Well, to keep things in line, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to give our experiences, our perspectives, and try to help people. So today, instead of telling a ridiculous story of me almost killing myself this week or almost getting in a fight with somebody or I don't know what else, I'm going to try to teach something as well. So I'm going to keep it in line with learning and tell a story. Well, it's kind of a whole bunch of stories about how learning had to happen in my career. And I kind of alluded to it during Woodrow's Wisdom. But in story time, I'm going to go a little bit more broad. And, throughout high school and college, when I was playing, I was strictly a right side player. I was a right tackle through high school. In college, I was right tackle my freshman, sophomore, junior year. And then my senior year, I moved to right guard. Not a big deal. Moving from right tackle to right guard it's a logical shift, especially for me, because if I had any shot at playing in the league, I wasn't going to be a tackle in the league. Playing tackle in the Big 12 at the time was like playing guard. You're going against gigantic defensive ends that aren't blazing anybody. I mean, at the time, there wasn't a Von Miller on the field. for example, Adam Carricker was an all Big 12, all American defensive end. He was 6'5", 310 pounds. He was a monster. So I was essentially like playing guard. So my senior year, when I moved to guard, I had to learn a new position, yes, but wasn't that dramatic of a difference. Then when I got drafted, I come in and they're telling me, you're backing up the inside three, but you're primarily a left guard. I've never been in a left-handed stance in my life. Left guard is typically the puller. You're flying around. You're the athlete in space. You're pulling, and I'm going, wait, what? I've always been the road grader. I'm on the power side. But whatever, I'll learn. I've got one of the greatest guard, what I believe the greatest guard, at least the greatest run blocking guard of all time, and Alan Faneca to learn from. So I'm going to learn. And I fell in that mode of just focusing on my left guard. What do I got to do? And like I said during Woodraux Wisdom, is I went through some struggles with that, and I was learning wrong, but then I figured out how to learn correctly. And then I took over the starting job, and that's who I was. I was left guard. And what I believe is I became one of the best left guards in the league. Well, fast forward a bunch of years, I'm now going into year 8. And I'm going to San Diego to rejoin Woody here. And the GM tells me, I need you to play center. I was like, what the hell? I'm an old dog. Okay, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, especially a position change like that. When you have to go from tackle to guard on the same side, that's not learning a new trick. What you're doing is you're learning new responsibilities, but you're doing all the same things. But if I had to move, let's say I got entrenched in my left guard and I had to move out to left tackle for a game, that's a move. That's a big move.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot different. But moving to center was like, holy crap, that's a substantial move. It's not quite as big as like moving from the inside to going out to play tackle. It's not quite as big as that. But now I'm moving to a position where I'm in complete control of the offense and what we're going to do. I am now in a completely balanced stance, and I'm holding onto a ball and snapping it and figuring out how to reach a nose guard to the play side on an outside zone or toss or something, where I have never done this in my life. And now I am in year 8 in the NFL, and a GM's going, that's what we need. Can you do it? I said, fuck yeah, I can do it. But in my mind, I'm going, what? How am I going to do this? I have no idea how to snap and go reach a wide one like a Brandon Meebame who gets into a one tech, but it's a tilt one. So he's really playing like a 2-eye and jetting straight up the field. By the laws of physics, that block shouldn't be possible. But centers do it all the time because it's just what they do. And I am now in my 30s trying to figure out a brand new position, a brand new movement, and being in complete control of the offense with a Hall of Fame quarterback behind me. I had serious doubts. But again, because what I learned earlier in my career about how to learn correctly, I just spent the time to actually learn how to do this. And I knew I didn't need to study plays. I know plays. I don't care where I go. I could go to a team right now. A team could call me this second, say, we need you to come and play for the Super Bowl. They could call me in 2 weeks, Super Bowl Sunday. They could call me on that day and say, could you come in and play? Yep, got it. Not because I could physically play, because I could mentally go play. I know all the plays. I don't need to study that. I need to study the centers like me that actually do it. and how do they do it? How do they get it done? What different types of stances do they use? What do they do with their feet, their knees, their ankles, pre-snap? What do they do with their balance as far as weight forward, weight backward? So I can properly move in that spot to not mess anything up. And in year 8, it was a tall order because I was super entrenched with just being a left guard. Fast forward again to year 10, I go to Indy, and they're going, yep, you're going to be our left guard. I was like, sweet, back in my spot. This is awesome. Well, then they decided to draft Quentin Nelson. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's decent. He's a decent player.
Not all the kids know.
And they said, we need to move you to right guard. And I said, bullshit. Quentin Nelson is a rookie. You tell him to play wherever the hell you tell him to play. I am the left guard. That's what I'm here for. I said, yeah, but he's only a left guard. No, he's a rookie. You put him wherever you want. Just like what happened to me. I was strictly a right side player, and Callahan goes, nope, you're going to move to the left. And guess what? I figured it out, and I got dang good at it. And that became all I did. So then the thought of playing on the right was like, are you kidding me? I'm in year 10 in the NFL, and I got to refigure out how to play on the completely other side. And again, none of this is about plays. I mean, yeah, I was better suited at that point in my career for being the road grader bulldozer type again, where I got to be on the power side instead of the pulling side. But I was pissed because I'm like, I have earned this. I've earned my spot. And now you're just handing it to a rookie and telling me to move. It's not going to be easy for me to figure out how to completely switch everything in my mind. But I had to do it. And I had to learn so many times in my career at that point. I was like, you know what? I'll go learn.
Hey, Gabe has a question, Slaw.
Fucking Gabe again.
Mr. Slauson, so was Mr. Nelson better than you? Good question, Gabe.
Yeah, that is a great question. I'll put it to you this way. I know I've said this before talking about this, but when the organization came to me and said they were going to move me to the right for Quentin because he's only a left side player, of course I threw a fit. I was like, this is BS. Then Quentin came in for rookie mini camp, and I was there one day to watch him. And I said, yep, there's our new left guard. Because he was special. The things Quentin could do was things I could never dream of doing. So I marched right over to my coach and said, yep, I'm all good on that right guard. We're all set there.
So Gabe, the answer is Mr. Slauson was not quite as good as Mr. Nelson, but he had to move.
I was a better player at the time, but it's because he was a rookie. It had nothing to do with ability. It's because I had the mind. I had the football mind, and I knew.
So he was better, but he was like, I can learn for this kid.
Absolutely. I believe at left guard, I could have done things better in that year than Quentin did.
But it was better for your team to have him on.
But it was better for the team. It was better for Quentin's future, which was going to be better for the team. And it would have been only a matter of time anyway. If I would have stayed at left guard, I probably would have won the starting job, and I would have played a couple weeks until Quentin caught up enough mentally, and they would have gone, okay, well, guess what now, Saw, because you refused to move to right guard. Well, now you lost your starting job because Quentin's caught up enough to where he's taking the starting job, and now you're a backup because you refused to move to right guard. And that wouldn't have been a good scenario for me. Right. Although it probably would have kept me off the field instead of breaking my neck. So maybe it would have been better for me.
Yeah, so it might have been better overall.
But either way, don't be afraid to learn. I mean, it's what separates us from animals.
I'm sorry, that just felt good.
No, it
separates us from, like dogs and cats. Mainly dogs.
So Ebb and Britton?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, he was my
We'll have him on sometime.
He was my backup in Chicago. This dude, I mean, the amount of weed this guy smokes is just incredible, because the profoundness of his thoughts. I mean, you got to be on some serious stuff going on there to be thinking some of the things he thinks. But I saw one of his promo things on Instagram for his podcast, and he was talking about us as humans. And he goes, the thought that God had to give us an animal body and a God mind. At first I had to think about it. I'm like, what is he saying with a God mind? Because to me, that's a little like, you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't.
Yeah. And I'm still kind of like that. Sure.
But
I want to hear what
but what he was saying is we are animals.
Mm-hmm.
We are, I mean, we're just another species of animals on this earth that God had created and put here. But the difference is our mind, about our thought of thought of purpose, thought of advancing. I mean, do you think a deer is just running through the woods going,
let's build a house?
Going, yeah, I should make a house, develop electricity.
Here's two. What do they start talking to us?
Central heating. You know, I should probably get a driver's license.
If a deer does that, if you think you see a deer doing that, you're probably not smoking weed. You're on some hallucinogenic.
Yeah. So deer are just trotting through the woods going, give me food and give me a beautiful doe. That's all they care about. And guess what? Majority of animals are thinking the exact same thing. And a lot of times...
Is that where you're thinking we're animals?
A lot of times we're thinking the same thing. Give us food, give us a beautiful doe, and we're all set.
It'd be a little bit weird though, like
a human
actually yeah, okay, fair enough. That's where just give me a steak and give me a doe. Whoa.
But
an actual deer.
But we have thoughts of how do we improve? How do we make ourselves better? What's our purpose of being here? And that's what he was saying was a God mind, because we aren't just an animal. We are something else. And so in a nutshell, that is my honest? My point. You learn because we aren't just animals. We're here to get better.
It might be hard for me to like him, because if he's into weed so much and I'm trying to make cigarettes cool again.
Oh, competition.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which competition's my number one. So I could
you don't shy away from competition, but people are way more excited in today's society about weed than they are cigarettes.
I know. I mean, I'm not going to start smoking cigarettes. I just think they look cool.
So kids,
we talked a lot about a lot of things, not a lot, but a couple things you can smoke. Probably steer clear of any of that.
Mm-hmm.
MCCA. So let's get some hats.
Oh.
I don't got anything else.